I just want to be real with you. I never watched anything before my birth time. Not exactly going to entirely tell you the month and day of my birth, but I can tell you at least the year that I was born. And don't worry, I'm not really entirely hiding my age because hey, people could tell my age at some point, but hey, that maybe my mentality can be actually off for a couple of years or something like that. But anyway, 1993. That's my birth year basically. So you can actually at least estimate as to how old I am at that point. I'm in my 30s already. Let's just be real. Tron itself, the original one, the one that actually was from 1982, I was never able to watch that film because I thought that it wouldn't actually be around. But when my father actually told me that there was a trailer back in I think a decade, it was a decade or about a decade, more than a decade earlier in 2009, 2010, there was a trailer that came out in regards to Tron Legacy. He let me know. I'm not sure if he let me know about it as well because it was also in circulation in Philippine TV as well about the movie. Because when it came out in 2010, I was actually able to watch it. Not exactly in the theaters, but it came out on DVD. It actually came out on DVD. So we had that too when I was able to actually get it. So we were able to actually get our own copy of it. So yeah. Tron Legacy. Not exactly the most spectacular iterations of the Tron thing, but my father did clue me in that Tron Legacy is a sequel to Tron that happened in the 80s. So I was a bit surprised there. Wait, so this thing is a sequel? Back then, I wasn't entirely too immersed when it comes to movies, but the moment I knew that I had to make sure that Tron Legacy at least is good. And when it comes to computer generated elements inside Tron Legacy, I know it was a banger for sure. I know it was a banger for sure for a movie. I actually enjoyed it a bit, but there are some moments that I fell asleep in parts of the movie, especially when it comes to just convos and stuff. And probably it's just the loud sounds that actually just woke me up so that I can continue watching it. All I just know is that even if there's a little bit of underwriting in the actual film, it really just doesn't just take away from the atmosphere. I like the atmosphere because it really looks it really looks just to me futuristic because the grid, however, the sighting itself, no, at that time it would seem something comparable if it's computer generated stuff. It should be comparable to Transformers because a year after Transformers came out, 2009, we got Tron Legacy. Basically, computer generated movies or shows are starting to actually get integrated into entertainment and movies those days that I wasn't entirely surprised with how Tron Legacy had actually shown, but at the same time, I think it was mediocre on the experience. I don't think it was the best movie that I've watched because I know that Transformers was better, but hey, it's actually sounds okay to me. The Tron Legacy. Mediocre, but it's still okay. Give me a moment here. I'll be back. Yeah, I'll just return for a bit, okay? Okay, now checking around on ratings, I had to actually check on two sources, Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic. Now, in regards to Tron itself first, it did relatively well. Did relatively well to both reviewers and audience members, but audience members seem to think that it's a little less. Something may have been missing considering of Tron's actual premise, but they consider it still fair, all considering. All right, even for a film that is supposedly from 1982, it was relatively okay. Now compare that to the sequel of 2010, that actually right there. Now it's relatively the same as back then, but the time and the atmosphere of this movie is completely different. Basically, reviewers liked this less. We have more or less the same. We have more or less the same reactions and same answer of how this movie actually went. Tron Legacy is actually good. It was actually good. mediocre but actually good. It really is to be compared. It really somehow is to be compared with the original. However, reviewers don't say the same. Reviewers don't entirely say the same. The reviewers, highly acclaimed critics, actually praise the original more. There's something about this one that's actually good for the audiences, and there's something about this that the critics find lacking. Now, where exactly are we going to find what's lacking about this? Tron Legacy boasts dazzling visuals, but its human characters and story get lost amidst its state-of-the-art production design. Well, of course, it's computer generated. That's how it's a computer generated adventure. Okay, of course it's gonna be like this. Anyways, critics reviews. Where I'm going to look into this more just to make sure. Isn't perfect, but it's perfect legacy sequel. Understandable for new viewers and exciting for fans of the original, full reviewed Spanish. It proves that with so many examples of oppression in fiction and reality, this movie had to come from a special place to be thinner in its spin on an evil leader and his forces than the last season of Game of Thrones. But this is a modern review. Oh my god. There are modern reviews because people are rewatching it. People are rewatching the older Tron entries just because of Tron Ares. At least it's coming out. It is actually okay. It's coming out somewhere. But there are those who even watched it back in September. They had to actually get an idea of how things are with this. Anyway, that's in regards to the reviews of this, okay? That's in regards to this. But what about Tron Ares? The current iteration in the Tron series. This is what we got. The audience, for some reason, enjoyed it a lot better than in Tron Legacy. I'm going to refresh this just to make sure. No, I am not crazy. But the critics mostly stay on the same stance as Tron Legacy. They're basically just looking for something more, but not really. They're not really entirely onto this film. They're half and half at this point. John Ares looks stunning. Sounds hypnotic, says absolutely nothing new. Of course, Jeff Bridges is no longer Jeff Bridges made a cameo in this. He's not a main character, but he was there. If I'm right. He's in a cameo, if I'm right. Tron Ares struggles to carve out a distinct identity due to a script that lacks depth. Yeah, this is the problem. If it has not enough depth in the actual movie, if there's not enough depth inside this, it's definitely not going to give a better impression. But still, it got accepted by the critics who like surface level movie criticisms. Okay, but most critics, most who are deep rooted in actually the arts, look for something deeper in movies. It's right for them to actually call it in the 50s because there's something more to be found. There's something more that has to be found in these types. Like the Leviathan did the Small Marionette, viewers are swallowed whole by the momentarily sensuous and overpowering storytelling, only to be spit back out into a fable of mortal feelings with a soulless premise led by Leto's solidly wooden performance. Jared Leto, if I'm correct, actually did a great job with his performance. I haven't watched Tron Ares yet, but considering that he did actually perform great here, really still speaks volumes about his acting career. He did absolutely fantastic as Joker. If he's done a great job here in Tron Ares, that really speaks a lot for his acting career. And I praise him for this. But considering the way it was written and the way it was produced, Tron Ares, apparently they're looking for something more on this. If only the advanced AI programs languishing in the grid had been hired as script doctors for Tron Ares. Oh my god. This is brutal. That perhaps the remedial narrative and asinine dialogue could have matched a transfixing visual aesthetic of this digital. Some of them have humor. Okay? Even if they given a rotten rating, they got some humor. Now I'm really, really interested in finding out what the heck has gone wrong with Tron Ares. Now I'm really interested. Now you got me hooked, Mr. Nicholas Bell. Thank you very much. Oh, yes. You got me hooked now. The next one is from Metacritic. It's not that different, but it is less on the percentage. Apparently, it is 48%. It's 48% on the Metascore, but the user score dubbed this as actually favorable. Still, critics on Metacritic find this mixed. They find Tron Ares with a mixed bag. So, yeah, this is something. User review. Ranked other. Okay, I'm gonna look at the less green ones, like the yellow ones here. Ranked other than Tron feature-length installments, while this one fails to capture the adolescent lo-fi charm of the 1982 film, it's appreciably more enjoyable and, frankly, comprehensible than Legacy. Well, basically, Tron Ares is more fun, but less appealing to critics who need to see something more on a movie to make them really smile. It makes sense. Roning's dazzling action sequences and the killer soundtrack might be enough to satisfy fans, but Tron Ares feels just as likely to get lost among a sea of the type of films Tron inspired. Okay, okay, fine. Impressive. Disney has destroyed yet another IP. Oh boy. Here we go. There are those who just don't like it when Disney ruins franchises, and this makes sense. It may not have not been my favorite IP, but was solid and always enjoyable to watch. Now it's gone. So we have a soft reboot aimed at the mythical modern audience. Don't bother. It's blunt, boring, empty action flick. Tron film without Tron, bait and switch. Unfortunately, yeah. Now I'm really interested in how Tron Ares actually comes out. And holy shit, dude. This tells a lot. This tells a lot. That what made it Tron is not Tron. It can be found. What made it Tron is not present in Tron Ares. So yeah. Yeah. This is not good, guys. Basically, the ratings do not fit good. And the reason why I actually checked out how Tron is doing is because I'm actually checking out a video as well. And this comes from the Little Platoon on YouTube, and it's called Tron Ares, the ultimate Disney slop. If the only thing that that has to be relatable to Disney as a term is flop or failure, I would not be surprised by that. Basically, that's what they actually should be because they failed the Marvel franchise, they failed the Star Wars franchise, they killed those franchises. They basically killed those franchises. They made sure to also kill off Tron. So yeah. What does the Little Platoon have to say about it? Oh my god, this is an hour 32? I'm not sure if I can watch this. Should I react to this? Hold on. Oh my god, this is a lot. Oh my god, this is way too much. I'm not sure. Okay. 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 There's a way that I can get myself past this. Oh my god.
Well, here we are reviewing another Disney slob movie. Oh god, no, I don't want to be in a movie with Jared Leto. He's going to ruin my career.
What is going on? The Little Platoon.
Jean Baudrillard, who we must forgive for being French, famously drew a distinction between simulacra and simulation in his imaginatively titled book.
Okay.
In his telling, simulation is the process of replication or mimicry. It is the art of reproducing reality or some facet of it in another form. In his writing, when he can be bothered to do it, George R.R. Martin is simulating the reality, both historic and current, of power politics. The result is the simulacrum. From Martin's simulation is produced the simulacrum that is Game of Thrones. It's not a mere copy of reality, but a constructed reality.
Okay.
It is literally true. It is the truth that the author and his audience sees when he looks through his figurative lenses.
Okay.
Baudrillard identified 3 orders of simulacrum, broadly corresponding to what he perceived as the collapse of meaning and its replacement with a kind of hyper-reality in which our simulacra, our art, our music, our TV news, our movies, have severed all correspondence with truth, becoming purely self-referential constructs.
Oh my god, do you know how freaking deep that actually is? Basically, it's the removal of truth, and only the usage of self-reference would actually be accepted in movies. And wow, I know you come from the United Kingdom, but the vocabulary is heavy. It's actually heavy. Holy shit, dude.
Where a first-order simulacrum directly references reality, like a photograph or a map of the terrain, and a second-order simulacrum refers to but distorts reality, like the histories of Herodotus or a Fox News bulletin. A third-order
Yeah. Thank God he actually had to include the. Oh my God, bro.
reality, like the terrain, and a second-order simulacrum refers to but distorts reality, like the histories of Herodotus or a Fox News bulletin. A third-order simulacrum bears no relation to reality whatsoever.
Yeah.
A CNN panel show. It's
Because it's not even. Oh my goodness. Self-reference, okay? It's not close to truth, but it is there. But still, it's not even a show. It's debate. Look, I cannot beg to always understand how legacy media works.
simply references other simulacra. The result is a postmodern society that is based upon memes about memes about memes all the way down. Baudrillard laid all of this out in 1981. The following year, and how's this for a segue, a second-order simulacrum was released.
See what you did there?
It is a story about simulation. It is a movie called Tron.
Yeah.
Tron's importance to the history of film far outstrips its popularity. We went through a lot of its history on our recent EFAP breakdown, but the condensed version I present to you here. If you're wondering why Tron Ares deserves a video, this section is an important part of the argument. The original Tron is a story of triumph over adversity. It is also a story about triumph over adversity. It was conceived by creator Steven Lisberger on a visit to visual effects company Magi in the late 1970s when he got his first glimpse of Pong, the game that birthed an industry.
Yeah, the gaming
Genius
industry.
was imagining what it was like, not to play Pong, but to be in Pong. Long before the advent of the modern RPG, Lisberger imagined the immersive possibilities of video games. The notion that those pixels moving around on the screen are themselves a simulacrum of the player. He wanted to show the world inside the arcade machine. The creative spark is summarized by his creation, Kevin Flynn, in Tron's 2010 sequel, Tron Legacy.
I tried to picture clusters of information as they moved through the computer. What did they look like? Ships? Motorcycles?
Actually bringing this vision to the big screen required an extremely complex and innovative act of simulation. Tron is the first movie to make extensive use of computer-generated graphics, married with rotoscopes.
And it was probably something that was ahead of its time, all considering if they were actually going to put this in a film. This was actually ahead of its time.
Live-action footage and hand-drawn backlit animation. The movie contains around 20 minutes of full CGI to represent its digital game world,
Oh
the
my
Grid.
God.
Achieving this with no digital storage, with no digital workstations, with no way to match resolutions and frame rates, with computers that had less than a megabyte of RAM, was a Herculean
It was an astonishing feat.
feat. Single frames of that movie could take a whole day to render.
Yep.
Negative 1%. Dread!
Custom code had to be written for every single effect, and the entire process required animators with no computing experience
Yeah.
to work with coders with no movie-making experience. That the project ended up with Disney, then desperately looking to revitalize its flagging film division, might have been a stroke of luck. Disney had some of the best and most experienced animators in the business.
Honestly, Tron Legacy is not exactly something to be celebrated of, but it was okay. It was actually good. I'm not gonna mistake that for incompetence or me being a Disney show. Okay, it was actually great. There's nothing wrong with Tron Legacy. There's nothing wrong with Tron Legacy in my eyes, but considering that it is a sequel, parts of what made Tron lacks in usually the sequels. Okay.
But these traditional artists refused to work on the movie, believing CGI to be a cheap trick and a threat to their livelihoods. Certain modern parallels could here be drawn. Despite breaking substantially more new ground than Avatar would decades later, Tron was not even considered for an Oscar because the Academy viewed computer-generated effects in much the same way: artless, soulless, cheating.
Wow.
Dismissed even today as a mere tech demo, as though the only thing worth saying about it is the mere creation of an entire new form of movie making, one that the likes of Pixar's John Lasseter, the Wachowskis, Tim Burton, who worked on Tron as an uncredited animator, and Daft Punk, who would go on to do the wonderful soundtrack for Tron Legacy. But that would be unfair. Tron also has characters, occasionally it has a plot, and it has a very definite and very relevant theme. The villainous Master Control program is a better and more timely AI villain than most modern films can manage. The simple chess program that becomes so skillful and so useful that it transforms its nominal owner, the sleazy crook Edward Dillinger, into its servant. Dillinger, who rose to the top of the tech company Encom by stealing ideas from the programmer Kevin Flynn, lacks sufficient humanity to best the Master Control program. Dillinger is a corporate pencil pusher, and even back in 1982, Lisberger spotted that human pencil pushers would be no match for their own computers.
Won't that be grand?
Oh?
Computers and the programs will start thinking and the people will stop.
Though the plot of the movie is extremely derivative of Star Wars, and the novelty of the presentation and the genius of the game grid are the obvious draws, all of Tron's constituent parts are put in service of its message. Kevin Flynn, established as a gifted programmer and an ace gamer to boot, is dragged into the grid by the Master Control program, which has spent so much time dealing with Dillinger types that it thinks all humans are just as vulnerable.
Wow. It is a real deep dive that he's putting up here. How many chapters are these? Oh my god. Oh my god, this is a lot. This is just a lot. Oh my god, bro. Way too much. Okay, I'm skipping to Tron Ares.
Let's begin. Tron Ares boots up with a grid introduction, echoing Tron Legacy's iconic opening. But where Legacy had Kevin Flynn talking to his son about a digital frontier, Ares gives us a de-aged Jeff with upgraded graphics, delivering a TV interview from some unspecified past.
The grid, a world beyond the screen, as real as our own. In just a few years, we're going to be able to enter this world. And a few years after that, this world will come into ours. Intelligent life from inside the machine. I, for one, can't wait to meet it.
This is a statement of intent, and it explains quite a lot of the movie to follow. Tron Legacy provides diegetic
Are you giving us spoilers or... Oh, this is just only just a prologue, but...
and non-diegetic excitement and wonder. It understands the allure of the grid, this science fantasy world. It's inviting us across the first threshold. Tron Legacy understood that it is a Tron movie. Flynn is describing the grid to his excited son, who serves as the audience's ears. His explanation leads straight into the Daft Punk main theme.
This is why Tron Legacy is actually great, because it really just picks up from what made Tron Tron, and it's still there. There was something more or less of Tron in Legacy, but it is still inherent. It really just became inherent.
And then, one day...
You got in.
That's right, man. I got in.
Which is supposed to be awe-inspiring, but which also contains a note of tragedy in among the epic, foreshadowing the kind of story we're about to get. Kevin Flynn in Ares, though, isn't talking about the grid as a wonderful, brilliant creation into which he is inviting us. He's talking about bringing stuff from the grid to our world. This is the same Flynn who, at roughly this point in Legacy's backstory, is leaving his son at nighttime to go back to the grid, which is the object of his fascination, to build his utopia.
There is our destiny.
So, not only does Ares tell us it's not all that interested in the grid as the grid, but only in the grid as an instrument to alter our world, it also presents us...
Yep, that's where it really just gets interesting. Using the grid to alter the world beyond the grid.
with seemingly an entirely different character called Kevin Flynn. The Kevin Flynn in this interview can't really be the same as the Kevin Flynn tantalizing his son with descriptions of a perfect world. Then we're bombarded with a montage of AI-generated news anchors recapping the premise.
Wait a minute. Are they really actually showing the... Hold on.
Kevin Flynn, Encom's visionary, made video games and then disappeared. Except one anchor claims...
The company that started at Kevin Flynn's arcade in the 1980s...
Which it...
Oh boy.
Encom predates Flynn's arcade. Flynn was a programmer at
Oh boy. There are problems with the script. Oh boy, they could have at least looked at every bit of context before actually writing up things that should be in the movie. Oh boy, this is one mistake of Tron Ares. Uh-oh.
He rose through the ranks. He got supplanted by Dillinger, who stole his ideas for new games, only after which Flynn was fired, only after which he opened his arcade. I'm already extremely puzzled why this movie has decided to give us AI news presenters, but I suppose it's on brand that they get the basic details wrong. Now, you might recall that, per the end of Tron Legacy, Sam Flynn is back, and he has Cora with him to boot, and he's made Alan Bradley CEO of NCOM. In rescuing Cora, Sam was set up to honor his father's sacrifice and help her transform the world. What will Ares do with this tantalizing prospect?
Even Jessica and Jacob reigns of the massive tech company after
Sam Flynn.
Oh, Sam's resigned, has he? He's just gone for...
Yeah, that's another problem. That is just another problem with the writing there. Oh my god. Oh boy. They're just giving us straight exposition as to what kind of gaps there are between Legacy and Ares. I hate it when there are speedy expositions like this that you can't catch at first glance, at the first sounds of it. You can't catch it at first glance or at the first sounds. Hear it at first sounds.
Personal reasons. Bradley, he ain't even in the movie. What? Nowhere to be seen. Doesn't get so much as a mention. They didn't even ask the actor if he wanted to return.
Please go see Tron Ares. I'm not in it, but please go. It is an original franchise, and I'm hoping this new movie will continue it on, and the only way that...
Why are you nodding at someone who's directing you to actually say that? Oh my god. This is a bad sign. Guys, I think he is being paid to just say that so that he could just get he could just get money, and then he will just be made to shut up about the entire context as to why Tron Ares has come at all. Oh my god. No, I'm actually really just vibing for that very person who says that that Disney actually destroyed another one. This is just one of the reasons. Basically, they're just telling the former stars, the former actors who played the older entries of Tron, they're telling them they will be paid for actually promoting Tron Ares, and only for promoting Tron Ares and nothing other. And it's an original, and considering that the IP itself is original. Not when the IP keeps fucking changing. It is not considered an original franchise if the actual IP keeps changing because it's being passed hands. Simply. They are allowed to make any good creative direction when it comes to an IP. Never to the point that it becomes something unfucking recognizable. There should be checks and balances when it comes to creating something inspired or actually referencing directly to what the IP is about. It's not common practice because they want to keep racking up new audiences. But of course, Disney doesn't. And of course, Disney just doesn't want to care about keeping what makes Tron, Tron. And Tron Ares, to some people, to most people who are perceptive enough, I'm not, they're perceptive enough to understand Tron Ares is not Tron. I don't know how deep their belief of that goes, but oh my goodness.
That's going to happen is if you, the audience, go to it and go to movie theaters. Don't sit back and wait for it to be streaming. Go to the movie theaters. Box office is everything.
I believe I read today that it's looking at a $134 million loss for the studio.
This is just why movies are failing by the franchises, by the IPs. It's because something about it will absolutely turn people off. What's going to be word of mouth when it comes to this movie? Probably Tron became special because of word of mouth. Do you know why Tron Ares becomes a flopped special? Because the word of mouth comes from people who personally went to the theaters themselves to tell other people that this movie is a problem and they should not watch it. And then these other people who they told would tell others not to watch it if it's streamed. This is why the losses are staggering like this. Because the word of mouth goes in absolute disfavor to Tron Ares. It's a real flop. It's a real flop. Just who is Ares, though?
Ares himself, played by Morbius's own Jared Leto, is introduced training with a triangular disc that doubles as a three-pointed knife. It's a neat enough design, but the sequence exists solely to scream, "Look how lethal he is!"
Oh my god.
Because Ares is about to go on a journey of self-discovery that should show him that his potential, the potential of all programs, is much more than the sum of his code. Tron Ares is, very loosely, the story of a program discovering that it's people. The obvious question is, what does the newly inhumaned Ares make, later, of the fact he's destroyed so many of his fellow programs to get to his enlightened state?
Have you ever killed anyone?
Exactly. Basically, Ares is supposedly a program, a very hostile program that has killed... Basically, yeah.
So many of his fellow programs to get to his enlightened state.
Have you ever killed anyone?
Yeah, but they were all bad.
Yeah! Yeah, the likening of that thing. It's okay.
Does his view of himself evolve his view of his fellows? Will he return as a liberator? Does he become the messiah of the grid? Does he go back to save and liberate all those programs he has here cut through? And the answer to all of those questions is no.
Not really.
Dylan Jr., Hollywood's latest stupid nepo baby tech bro villain, comes in to tell Ares that he is not a who, but a what. Ares is Dillinger Systems security software, defender of the grid, and also master control?
You are master control.
That doesn't make sense.
Is it master control? Hold on. What? No, wait a second.
Hollywood's latest stupid nepo baby tech bro villain comes in to tell Ares that he is not a who, but a what. Ares is Dillinger Systems security software, defender of the grid, and also master control?
It doesn't make sense! Who? Ares is master control? No. That can't be right.
Master control.
That doesn't make sense.
Exactly! That does not make sense at all! What?
Lest you think this might mean something,
It might mean there's bad writing. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Yes, it has really just come to this point. It has really just come to this point. We're finding out a bit more and more about what to expect from Tron Ares when we actually watch the freaking video, when we actually watch the movie ourselves. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to watch it on stream. Actually, I can. It's a good thing I'm on Kick and D-Live because I can. Because the parts that definitely will have me watch the entire movie, YouTube is going to block me from actually showing that on an actual stream, but they will also make sure that, I don't know, what to expect. Honestly, I'm not sure. Anyway, let's get to it.
also no.
Thanks for coming back early.
No problem, Master C.
The Master Control program could talk directly to Dillinger Sr., but this hyper-advanced company uses text-to-speech.
Oh my god. It feels so wrong. The gap in between your intelligence and the writing. It's just something about it just seems like shit, dude. What the hell?
You leave stuff behind.
Meanwhile, in some snowy nowhere, Eve Kim, our literal girl boss, snowmobiles to a silo of sorts stuffed with ancient computers and modern posters and newspaper clippings about the events covered in the introduction. This makes for some confused visual storytelling since the movie wants us to think that nobody has been here for a little while, and yet someone has to have been here.
Yeah.
Basically yesterday to pin up those posters and those newspaper clippings. Eve is hunting for a floppy disk, which is the worst pet name for a penis.
Come on, let go of my floppy.
The floppy disk contains the permanence code, the purpose of which shall be made clear presently. A video message from her sister Tess plays on one of the computers.
I am going to skip this to a point in which we're just gonna... I don't know why they actually made something like this. The writing is just... What were they actually thinking? Now, I'm sure you guys actually...
That is basic.
Okay, you know what? You guys just go right ahead if you guys actually like to watch the full video yourselves. Tron Ares, the ultimate easily stopped by YouTuber The Little Platoon. You can actually do that. It's just the number of inconsistencies, the number of unbelievably bad inconsistencies on this film make it, well, you can actually watch the action, but there are way, way too many loopholes. Way too many loopholes to actually suggest that this is a film that understands how the franchise is and what the franchise is about. Oh my god. Now even I know that Tron Legacy has miles better of writing than this flop. It's an actual flop. Even if audiences enjoyed it in the houses, hey, I can just tell you, maybe the ratings are actually rigged, and I'm not going to be surprised if they are rigged. People are just being paid to actually leave user reviews. I'm not sure, but I'm going to give this a watch myself to really find out how bad it really is, and I just need to be sure that I'm not missing anything. I do want to experience Tron Ares because holy shit, dude. Why did they greenlight something like this if there are too many inconsistencies without understanding the message of Tron and understanding how events were before? Oh my god! Especially between the Ancom and the Flynn arcade thing, those things can be absolutely noticed, and it's not something easy to. It's not something easy to overlook. Okay, so to give you guys a summary about this. Tron Ares could be fun to watch if you avoid all of the movie logic and you avoid all of the plot from the last two entries. But you have to get a connection between those two movies and this one for the actual legacy audiences to understand it. This just tells us that Disney or any other big brand that makes movies does not care about about the IP and the franchise and what the plot was in the IP and the franchise. They don't want to make a connect because all they're actually focusing on is racking up the audience views, the new audience too. That's what matters to them. Okay, it is such a lapse of judgment for them to green like something like this. And I am very disappointed in them for this. Because we cannot call this something canon. We cannot call this something to even continue the franchise. And I don't like Tron Ares to even be referenced if ever there is a Tron film in the works. Disney, what are you guys thinking?